OCO, free thinkers.
I make you think, yeah. I make you think, I make you think, yeah. I make you think, yeah.
OCO, beautiful people. Hope you all are doing well. And man, Trump is forcing an issue. Whether if you agree or disagree with him or not, it doesn't matter. Like, he's still going to push this out. A lot of people knew this was coming. And so did I. I informed my people, especially on my main channel, that this was coming. We're talking about the birthright citizenship and the green cards and, the benefits that the foreigners are getting. And there was a lot of fraudulent stuff happening, not just in Minnesota, as an example. But I'm glad that this is actually happening because it shows that the United States has balls to tell foreigners, look, hey, we got rules and regulations over here that you guys must follow. Here it is right here. This is what you have to do. In fact, and in order for you to follow it, go back home, start fresh. I like this for this particular time that we're going through certain things where, benefits are being pushed to foreigners, and it's not fair, especially to us as so-called Black Americans who, do not benefit the same way these foreigners do. And keep in mind, this government is still going to look out for these foreigners. So it's just, they got to go through a phase or a process rather, trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the foreigners to get over here. But I still feel as though the government is going to look out for them nonetheless. But let's see.
New at 5, a sudden move forcing green card applicants to leave the U.S. and submit their applications in their home countries is rattling nerves. It's the latest announcement by the Trump administration. The new policy is hitting one beach immigration attorney by surprise as he tries to figure out how to help his clients.
It's a way to make it more difficult for people to get immigration status here in the United States.
So the new rule has Virginia Beach immigration attorney Hugo Valverde fielding panic among the clients he serves.
We'll try to, tell people to remain calm. This was just announced. We're still trying to figure out what this means.
People legally in the U.S. seeking a green card are often international students, people on a work visa, or family of U.S. citizens. The Trump administration policy says they can't stay here while they attempt to adjust their status.
So under the law, someone who's here without status for more than a year, if they leave to go home, to, let's say, receive their visa to come back to the United States as a permanent resident, the embassy will deny that visa because under the law, that person leaves with a 10-year bar from being able to return to the United States. U.S.
Citizen and Immigration Services defends the policy, saying non-immigrants like students, temporary workers, or people on tourist visas come to the U.S. for a short time and for a specific purpose. Our system is designed for them to leave when their visit is over. Their visit should not function as the first step in the green card process.
And I agree with that. Because that was a lot of fraudulent activity happening because of that loophole. It seems like the Trump administration is trying to close up all of those holes that other administrations left behind. And I agree with this process. I don't have any bad take on this at all.
I've never seen my clients more attacked than they're being. I feel like
come on.
Attacked
How are they being attacked? Because if we try to go to their countries, let's be honest here. If we try to go to their countries, in order to gain dual citizenship over there, we have to go through a process, right? It's not an automatic thing. People were coming over here automatically gaining benefits as if they were citizens here, and they weren't. They were still trying to work towards that citizenship. So making it tougher is not hurting the people. It's just letting them know, look, America has now strengthened its laws, especially on immigration.
Administration's policies.
And Valverde says he's even getting calls from citizens afraid to leave the country for fear that they won't be allowed to come back.
Well, that's fearmongering right there because they said it's not really, affecting citizens already. But they did say non-immigrant workers and non-immigrant students, they got to restart. But, they didn't say anything about somebody that already has their dual citizenship restarting, from the top. Like they'll get denied to come back in. Now, that will probably be a problem, but at the same time, oh well, if they want to, this is America now, right? This is the Trump administration, right? We know that there was a lot of fraudulent things happening when it comes to certain immigrants that were coming over here in order to not only seek asylum, But they wanted to feed their families. They wanted to be able to make some type of income that they could send back to their families, whether they were here in America or elsewhere. So if it does affect them, they got to understand that they just have to make adjustments.
Chaos, confusion, and fear. That is the way the Trump administration's changes to the green card program are being described. Immigration authorities posting a short notice that immigrants already here will need to leave and then apply for a green card from their home countries. That's it. Missing exactly who this affects, when it begins, and does it affect new or ongoing applications. Immigration attorney Elizabeth Ricci joins us now. And Ms. Ricci, as we indicated, this is creating a lot of chaos and confusion. So if I'm in the process of getting my green card, do I now have to leave the U.S. to continue the process if I'm already here?
You just said that.
Not necessarily, but first let me say thank you for having me. And indeed, this has caused tremendous confusion, but adjustment in the country has always been discretionary. So this is not truly a change. It's just that the discretion is now being exercised. On one hand, at the press release, it said must leave the United States, but the actual memo does not use that word. It uses phrases like disfavored exception, matter of grace, and extraordinary. So now what people are going to have to do is show why they should be able to remain in the United States and have their interview here instead of having to leave the United States, which again is discretionary.
So why now? If it's not a change, why the memo?
Why do you think now?
Well, I think it's consistent with the administration's position on immigration, tightening things, making it more difficult for people to adjust, and we're moving away from proving that people are just eligible as they have been before to a shift in showing why they should be eligible. Just like with naturalizations, traditionally you had to prove that you weren't a bad person, you didn't have a serious criminal history. Now you have to show you're a good person and that you contribute to society. So it is consistent with this administration's position on immigration.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Love attorneys, but every time I call an attorney, it costs me. So if I'm someone that is seeking this situation, do I have to contact an immigration attorney first? And if so, isn't this a cost barrier now to people trying to get into this country or stay in this country?
First of all, anybody that wants to get in contact with a lawyer, consultation is usually free. It depends on the type of lawyer that you're contacting. What type of question is this? Like, you're going to have to pay for an attorney's services. Like, seriously?
Well, you never have to have an immigration attorney. It's particularly wise at this point. I would certainly consult with an immigration attorney before filing anything, before withdrawing anything.
That's another thing. Why should they have attorneys anyway? I mean, they're fighting to, or they're hoping that they're able to become a U.S. citizen down the road. Why should they have legal representation when they're not even citizens right now? That part right there needs to be adjusted. If I was president, I would make that adjustment immediately.
Or before leaving the United States. The cost of hiring an attorney, I think, is much less than being subject to a 3 or 10-year reentry bar or worse. So I think now is the time to have a cool head, to make a list of why you're eligible to stay in the United States and improve it and show it. If you haven't yet filed your adjustment, I would write a letter to immigration with your package explaining why you should be eligible to stay. If you've already filed, I think the same thing applies. The burden has shifted much more so to the applicant now to prove why they're eligible. But now is not the time to not consult with an attorney. I would say this is a particularly important process in a couple's life or a family's life or the life of a business. And now would be particularly wise to have an experienced immigration attorney on your side.
I'm curious, you said earlier that you don't think that this is a significant change, and yet you're using words to describe the change as burden has shifted. When we talk about a burden shifting, that is a change.
Well, the position is a change, but allowing adjustment in the country rather than through the consulate has always been discretionary. So that's what I'm saying has not changed. It's not that this is a new law requiring people to go abroad. What I'm saying is that the exercise of discretion has changed.
So now I'm confused again. And
No, it's
not new for me.
It's not confusing. It's not confusing. All it is it was already there. Now they're putting belt to tail. Now they're putting boots on the ground. Now they're putting, action into play. That's what's going on. There's no confusion. It's the fact that it was there. Now the discrepancy has been slightly adjusted to the point where it becomes actionable. So now they are going to make it known that this is what they have to do. Now this is being enforced now. There's no confusion.
I'm in this country and I am applying for my green card. Does this mean that I have to leave the country
Yes.
in order to continue my green card application process?
The short answer is no. It does not mean you have to. The press release used the word must, but the actual policy memo says disfavored exception with regard to adjusting in the country. It's a matter of grace. It's an extraordinary circumstance. So now the burden has shifted to having to show an unusual.
The answer is yes. I don't know why she's doing this dance around as far as the language is concerned. Like, of course, they're going to say lawful language inside of the memo, but that doesn't mean that means no, or not necessarily. No, that means yes. You have to go back.
Or an outstanding equity, but not that you absolutely must or have to leave. The irony is that if somebody does not leave and they are told that they have to, and then they're put in deportation, they can actually remain in the United States and request the green card through the immigration court without even having left. So this is part of what I was saying, that this position on making things more difficult in the immigration context. But the short answer is no, you don't have to leave. And this will be litigated because it is so vague and basically arbitrary and capricious.
Ms. Ritchie, I have been in Washington now for the better part of 40 years. And one of the things that I can tell you about this city is it really goes over each word very carefully. How do you make a mistake then on a release with the word must as opposed to the wording that you were telling me exists in the statute?
I'm not saying that that was a mistake. What I'm saying is that there's a conflict between what was put in the press release and what's actually in the memo. And I think that's quite consistent with the behavior of the administration and possibly intentional to create confusion. I think that's the word that you used.
So do you think they're doing this on purpose?
Perhaps, but regardless of what the reason is, I think people need to consult with immigration attorneys who have experience, who can help to show what the equities are, what's outstanding, what's extraordinary.
Now, the reason why I didn't say anything, because of course you hear that what she just mentioned, it sounds like she's on the opposite side of where the answer is. And that's true. The answer is yes. It's must. They wouldn't just put that in the press release coming directly from the White House, by the way. They wouldn't just put that verbiage in the press release for no reason. I guess this is their way of trying to calm the public down, because some immigrants feel as though it is a must or they're going to get kicked out, especially what they're seeing on the news as far as ICE is concerned. They could be trying to downplay it, or this lady could be trying to downplay it, but that was coming from the White House. So are we trying to say that they're not creditable because it was a White House press release? Or, because it's coming directly from the source. The source is still the White House. That's where the Trump administration resides. Technically that's where they do business. And you mean to tell me that this lady has a better explanation? No, this is to stir the narrative right here.
To justify why people should not have to leave the United States. The reason really doesn't matter.
Lots of students find themselves caught in the crossfire. I guess the question that has to be asked is, how do they maintain their academic standings if they're afraid that any moment they're going to be deported?
Well, students generally are F1s or J1s. Those are single intent visas. Those are higher exposure cases that if they are filing for adjustment of status, they probably are less likely to receive the discretion of being allowed to file for an adjustment in the country. But unless there's a criminal matter, a student should not particularly be worried about being ordered removed. They should be concerned about maintaining their status, staying in class, and doing the full load that they're required to do as per CVIS. But I don't think...
Same thing with the people that's on working visas. The students and the working visas. That's what it sounds like. Certain people, as long as they're not doing anything criminal, they should be okay. In other words, But I'm not sure though, because with that verbiage coming directly from the White House with the must on it, that sounds like it's going to be affecting all of them in general. Anybody that's seeking the green card status, straight up. That's what it sounds like. That's what the Trump administration has said. So regardless of what this lady is saying, she's a law professor in Florida State. Keep in mind, let's just say that she's a lawyer in Florida. That doesn't make a goddamn difference. She's not the president nor in the Trump administration. I'm just saying.
A concern right now about being ordered removed right away should be what's on the top of students' minds. I think they should be maintaining status, avoiding any criminal issues, and having an eye on the possibility of having to leave the U.S. if they ever do decide to adjust their status.
Ms. Ricci, the nation is preparing to celebrate its 250th birthday, and I'm always reminded of the plaque at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, and I know you know what it says. Give us your tired, huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Are we now the country that welcomes the tired, huddled masses anymore?
Well, that's a great question. I will say in this context that refugees are not a discretionary matter, and refugees are entitled to adjust their status in the United States regardless of this memo or the press release. So it will remain to be seen about the rest of the immigrant population, from students to people sponsoring spouses, especially those spouses who entered as tourists or on the ESTA program. But refugees are specifically allowed to remain in country and adjust in the U.S., as are certain Cubans, people with VAWA, for example. So it's not cut and dry or black and white, to say the least.
At least not right now.
Attorney Elizabeth Ricci. Ms. Ricci, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, at least not right now. All of that stuff could still be changed. I mean, you don't know to what extent the Trump administration's new policy on green card acceptance is in full. They just gave you a brief synopsis of it inside of the memo, and then from the memo to the press release. But right now, the law could be stating, deeper things. You're just going off of what the law says right now, and you're giving your interpretation on how they're going to make adjustments, but you still don't know until it's out there. But based off of what they're saying, let's just go with what they're saying. Okay, right now they're saying that everybody that has applied for a green card has to go back, okay, and do it again. They got to go back to their countries and try from there. Now, let's just run with that one. Let's not make an assumptions of saying, okay, it's going to affect these people, it's going to affect these people, because technically you don't know. You're not a part of the Trump administration. Trump may be right and may be wrong in certain areas, especially the children that are in school. I don't know about that one. Maybe they'll make some adjustments on that note. But as far as everybody else is concerned, that are out here receiving benefits as if they are U.S. citizens, then yeah, that adjustment needs to be made. In fact, why don't they do it from their own country? If they are going back to their countries, yeah, that should be adjusted as well. Like, it should be, all right, well, since you over there, go ahead. We'll see. We'll see how this is still ongoing. This is not affirmed right now. Like, this is not law right now, but it is upcoming. And again, we don't see the legislation right now to know for a fact of what it is, in detail. Exactly. We know what it's about, but we don't know how that's going to affect certain people with particular immigration statuses. So we'll see.
OCO, free thinkers.
I make you think, yeah. I make you think, I make you think, yeah. I make you